Hello, this is Ben Hood, Vice President of Solution Consulting at Planview. Today we're going to talk about how the Planview solution can help organizations scale their Agile delivery. Planview provides end-to-end lean Agile delivery capabilities from strategic planning, value stream funding, lean portfolio management, demand and capacity around that. We're not going to talk about those items today. What we're going to focus on is the right-hand side around Agile delivery, how we can take the things that your teams do every day inside of the tools they do every day and not hinder their team level execution, but be able to connect those teams so we can have consolidated views of the work that they're doing. A common problem that we hear from customers is that they have different JIRAs or they're using multiple tools or teams have different processes that they're doing down at the team level. And the struggle is rolling up that information and being able to make sense of it. The Planview solution allows to connect multiple delivery teams who use disparate execution tools and processes, whether that's JIRA, ADO, Rally, version 1. We allow that information to roll up so we can understand cross-team dependency management. It promotes continuous improvement, and it gives insight to the stakeholders and the leaders of how that work is moving through its process and where different exceptions or problems might exist. So with that, let's actually go ahead and jump into the software. So welcome to Planview Lean Kit. Right now, we're looking at a program level board where the blue cards are represented as features, the green cards are represented as enablers, and the gold cards are represented as epics. One of the benefits of Lean Kit, when you compare it to Kanban and traditional ALM type tools, is we allow you to establish any number of vertical and horizontal lanes so your processes can be much, much more sophisticated than you might get in a typical Jira Kanban type environment. Why is that important? Because it allows you to kind of model out broader processes. So in this example, we're actually planning across multiple teams, Alpha, Beta, and Charlie. And this is our backlog planning area, so our PI +1. And over here on the right is what we're currently implementing right now, what the teams are actually working on. And when we talk about cross-team coordination, Lean Kit gives it to you visually, right? So me turning on my connections, I can see all the features that belong to particular epics. In addition to being able to see if features are related to one another, there's a relationship between them. So very easy to kind of view and understand, what's connected to each other. The card also tells you, whether it's blocked, what the relative size is, whether it's critical. You can also see the number of user story points that are going into the user stories that bring up that feature. So if I want to start working on demo feature and schedule it maybe for team beta in their first iteration, I could simply go and drag it into iteration 1 and we could start that process. Now, if you notice the little triangle with an exclamation point in it, that's telling me that there's a user story belonging to that feature where there's a problem. And if I wanted to kind of dig into that, I could simply open up the feature card and go look at its children cards, otherwise known as user stories. So I can quickly see, how many are finished, how many are not started, how many are started. I can see whether those user stories are happening inside of Jira or whether they're happening inside of ADO or your other tool. I can see if it's blocked, if it's critical or not. And if I want to dig into it and get that next level of information, break down that feature into its user stories, I can easily click out to its team of team boards. So this is a board right now that we entered from the perspective of the feature that we were just on. So it's filtering out all the other user stories on this board, except for the ones that belong to that particular feature. If I simply go ahead and clear my filter and close the filter control, now you'll see that the tool is actually the delivery board for multiple teams, right? Where I've got Team Alpha that uses Azure DevOps and they follow Scrum. I've got Team Beta that does Scrumban that's using Jira. And down here, I've got Team Charlie that's doing Kanban and using Lean Kit, the tool that we're in right now. One thing to keep in mind, based on where you are in your evolution in Agile, Lean Kit allows you natively to do user story planning and execution. So if you don't have a Jira or an ADO or another ALM tool in-house, you can actually do that user story planning and execution using Lean Kit exclusively. With that said, we're also pragmatic and understand that many organizations are using Jira or ADO. So what you're going to see here over the next few minutes is our seamless integration with those different tools down at the team level. So what we're looking at is the three teams, and they have slightly different processes as is noted. If I want to go ahead and create a brand new user story right here, I could simply, I'll duplicate the one that I'm on, and I'll just call this the user story created in LeanKit, 3, put a 3 in front of it. Simply go ahead and save and close it. And certainly when you start working on user stories, you'll then move them into future lanes, et cetera. What about the teams, right? What if the teams, maybe they're not, if I'm a Jira team, I don't want to enter my user stories right here directly in LeanKit, although it's super duper simple to do. I could simply go to a user story that's already there, and I'm just going to link out to it. So now I'm viewing that user story inside of Jira. And so what I'm going to do then is to go look at the board that user story is part of inside of Jira. And I could see there's the user story that I just created a moment ago, right? So the one that I created in LeanKit, boom, it's now in Jira where the team can start to go ahead and open up that user story. Maybe they're going to size it accordingly. It's going to be 30 points. It's going to we're actually going to go ahead and start it. So I'm going to move it into in progress. I could provide comments. I could give it a priority. It's major. I get to do attachments, do the things I do at the team level, and see it move across. In a moment, we'll go look at that update that happens inside of LeanKit, basically scaling those user stories up. Alternatively, I might want to add a user story in Jira, like I'm doing right now, right? So right in here, I'm simply going to go ahead and add that into my to-do lane. I might want to go quickly once again and just give it its story points. This one's 10 story points, and I haven't started it yet, so I'll leave it in that lane. The act of the team, creating user stories inside of Jira, what they do every day, the environment that they live in, we can keep them there. We don't have to hinder what they do every day if you're using existing ALM tools down at the team level. But take what those people do every day and easily roll it back up onto the boards, right? So you can see the things that I was just working on. My user stories are created. I could see the ones that I moved over are there. So seamless integration. If you think about that, we can allow our teams to do what they do and what they're successful doing every day inside of their ALM tools, but then consolidate that up. So now I'm looking at a cross-team board so I can coordinate across teams, right? If I've got features or user stories that are being worked on by different teams and there needs to be handoffs, or there's a DevOps or hosting ops portion of what we do, this provides an easy, simple way to promote that cross-team coordination. The big benefit of that is that, we leave the teams alone. They can do what they want, although, as I mentioned earlier, we can certainly handle team-level user story planning and execution inside of LeanKit natively. Once that information is kind of bubbled up from the team level, it then bubbles up back to the feature board that we were talking about earlier. So then I could start to see what's the accumulation of points for the feature and whether there's problems down at the user story level with the triangle with an exclamation point. But this is kind of the Scrum Master, Director of Development type view, looking at what's happening in which iteration with what sprint. We still take that information and roll that up one level higher, right? So if the people in the PMO or leadership wants to see, where are the problems with our Agile delivery work, this is the experience that they might use, right? Where they're looking at portfolios of traditional work and the Agile work and quickly and easily being able to see, these are my features that are blocked. I've got 2 features that aren't blocked, but they have user stories that are blocked. And those user stories can be happening inside of Jira, inside of ADO, inside of Rally, or has been noted several times inside of LeanKit as well. And if I want to dig into it, one-click access to be able to open that card and start to discover that card on the boards that it belongs to. If you have any questions or want more information, please contact your Planview representative.